This lesson covers client placement forms, or our tracking category of forms. From our main tab, we are going to select our client tab. Then we are going to select a client. From the client's face sheet, we are going to then select forms. But the first thing I noticed is this client I selected is in the wrong program. So I can quickly go to the edit mode and I can change this client's particular program. Then I can save my work. Now I will get the appropriate form library for this client. In the left navigation, I'm going to select Forms. I now have a form library in my right navigation. Today we're talking specifically about the tracking category of forms. The first thing you'll need to do is to place a client in a home. That is the initial placement form. We selected initial placement in our right navigation, so in our work area we're going to select New Instance. We now have an initial placement form, and this is a new instance. This is a yet to be created form. There are very few required fields in casebook forms. The tracking forms all have a few required fields. They are highlighted in yellow. But here is a little trick that you can use in casebook. If you click the Save and Continue, you will find where those required fields are at very quickly. And if you click on one of them, we will take you directly there. These two fields are the minimum data that we have to have in order to complete this form or save this form in our database. First is placement date. So we are going to select a placement date, and we are going to say that it is today's date. The next field we need to fill out is where. What home is this child being placed in? So this list that you see in front of you are all only licensed homes that are active in the system. If the home has a status of inquiry, you will not see them displayed here. So if you do not see the home that you wish, you need to go back to the home, change its status, and start this form over again. So we'll select our home. We have now completed our required fields. We can fill out the rest of the form as necessary, and then we can now either save and continue, and you'll get the save icon, and this child is now placed in a home. So we can now click Save and Done. And what you will now see on your client record in the upper right, left, you see the client name, you see the client ID number, date of birth, age, but now you also see the name of the home that client is placed in. So let's look at more tracking forms. The next one that you'll be likely to use is level of care change. So we have a form for that. Let's look at this client's face sheet real quick. We now have a placement date being shown, and we have a level of care which has not been assigned on this child yet. We do not have a level of care. An initial level of care is set on the face sheet. So let's set a level of care for this child on the face sheet. Let's make that a past date. So now we have an initial level of care. Now if we go back into the edit mode, you'll see the placement date cannot be changed on the face sheet. Those are only changed through the tracking forms. Additionally, the level of care and the level of care effective date cannot be changed on the face sheet. Those are done through our tracking forms. So let's go look at the tracking form that would change these dates. And that is, in the right navigation, our level of care change form. We'll create a new instance, and we have two basic required fields. We need to know what is the new level of care effective date, and we need to know what is the new level of care. Here we are showing you the current level of care. We fill in the two highlighted yellow required fields, and we are now ready to save this form. We click Save and Done, and if we go to this child's face sheet, we will now see that the level of care and the effective date have been updated, and that's level of care. Let's look at more tracking forms. Subsequent placement. This is moving a client from home A to home B on a permanent move. This form also has required fields: placement date and subsequent foster home name. Here we will show you the current home that they are in. Once again, this is only for licensed homes. And then the rest of the form can be completed. The next set is actually a set of forms. You have respite and return or end respite. In a database, these must be used in conjunction with each other. If the last thing you did was send a child on respite, the next thing you should do in the database then is, when that respite ends, is to fill out a return or end respite form. This is the same relationship that works between suspension and resumption. This would be for like hospitalization or runaway or something like that. You then have a discharge form. This discharges the client from your agency and makes that client inactive in your system. It changes them on your all client list. That would then change their status from active to discharged. And then the final form under our tracking category is a readmission form. This allows you to take an discharged client and bring them back into an active status or readmit them into your agency. And that is a quick overview of our tracking forms in Casebook. Thank you.